Hey, this is Rylan Voss with the Vic Shop. Today we're going to talk about putting a fuel filter in your cross-country or crossroads. Now Victory recommends that your cross-country or crossroads get a fuel filter every 30,000, but I've found that sometimes, depending on your fuel and where you're getting it, that a bike can need a filter earlier than 30,000, sometimes as soon as 25,000. This particular bike's got 45,000 miles on it, so it's definitely in need of a filter. So follow with me as we change out the fuel filter. So here we have the fuel tank, which I've already removed for the bike. And if you're having trouble with removing the fuel tank, then I would recommend that you find a good qualified mechanic to take care of the fuel filter, because it's going to be a lot harder to get the tank off. So once the tank was off, I went ahead and siphoned all the fuel out, and then I got a 7mm socket, and we removed all the bolts that line the fuel pump housing. And I guess from year to year, it depends. Sometimes they're 8mm heads. We've got two left, and this is the fuel pump assembly, and the filter is on the back side. Now getting this to squeeze out is no easy task, and that's I'll show you a trick here next. So this is the hardest part of the whole operation, is getting the actual pump assembly out of the tank. I've got a pump assembly here that that's come from another tank. And what we're trying to do is this flexible fuel line here gets hung up on the inside of the tank, and we want to pry this flexible fuel line back so we can pull this out of the tank. And it's just a piece of plastic that's a trim tool from a body shop to try to hook down in there and free this line from the tank. And even after doing dozens of these, it's still a struggle for me. So you can see how that line is hooked on the tank there. Oh, there it goes. So we pop that free without ruining your tank. And this is the wiring connector for the fuel level gauge. Of course, you want to make sure that's plugged in. And there you can see the filters themselves on the back side. Now let's bring this to the bench and swap out those filters. Okay, here you can see the fuel pump assembly. The filters are retained by a slip-on clip here, and there's another metal clip here, and the new filters from Victory will come with the new metal clip. So what I do is take the pocket knife and just pry this little clip away until I can grasp it with the needle nose. And we'll just pop it off there if it'll cooperate. There we go. The same thing with the other clip on this top side here. Let's try to push it through. Actually, we'll use a screwdriver to try to pry the filters off of the actual pump itself. It's definitely a three-handed operation here. And there we go. Filters are off. Nice and dirty. Get rid of those into the garbage. Here's our new filters from Victory. See a lot of difference there. Nice and white with the new clip that tends to get lost if you drop it. So now we'll slide these back on. You actually got to push them pretty hard to get on there. And that clip is good. And then we put the metal clip on. And the metal clip is a pain in the butt as well. Couldn't make it easy. There we go. All good. Now, this is ready to go back in the tank. Okay, so the installation is just the opposite of removal. Keep in mind that Victory does recommend that you replace the tank seal, which is on here, so don't forget to buy one of those. And they also recommend replacing all the hardware too, all of these little tiny screws. So keep that in mind. And one more thing, if you scoffed at the fact that Victory wants you to replace the filters every 30,000 or less, in my opinion, just look at the old filters. This is what they used from 2002 to 2008, and this is what they used from 2009 forward, which is literally half of the media area as the old stuff. So you're running a bigger bike with more horsepower and more engine displacement and half of the fuel filter capacity. So that's why it's so important and why we've actually had bikes have runnability issues, because this filter has been plugged. So a great piece of tech advice here is to get that replaced every 25 to 30,000. So I'm going to go ahead and put this all together with all the new parts and we'll try it out. Okay, now we've reinstalled the tank. It's got all new hardware on the fuel pump assembly, a new seal. I flipped the tank back over, added fuel to it, checked for leaks, everything seems good, so I put it back on the bike and hooked it all up, and we'll give it one last check and we'll be good to go.